If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed, and y'all shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. It is Women's Week. Shout out to all the women everywhere.
That's right. Shout out to us, ladies.
First of all, none of us would be here.
Right. If it wasn't for the wombs of our mothers.
And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mom, even outside the womb. You know what you did, girl. Thank you very much, Mom Dukes. BMW in this bitch. Rest in peace to my mom. Rest in peace to Wanda Padilla. I loved you. I'll see you again real soon, inshallah.
Not real soon.
Okay, guys, here we go. Song number 2. Song number 2 is...
Oh, song number 2 is Dawn of the Infinite Fire. This is, again, from the same band we're going with, Asagraum, or Asagraum.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn of the Infinite Fire. This is another live video for all of us. It's going to start at 29:30.
So that was the same show, right? That was the same show?
Ooh, this is wait a minute. That's a weird date.
Yeah, like I'm hoping it's...
This one is January 14th, 2023 is the one we are doing now. And this last one was... Yeah, you're right. How'd you know that? Is it brilliant?
Yeah, because I'm brilliant.
This is my husband.
Because I'm brilliant. All right, guys, here we go. Song number 2. Okay, what did you say? Time
Smart man for you. Okay. 29:30, I believe is what I said. Yeah, 29:30. And it's going to 35:15.
All right, 29:30.
Yeah.
I'm going to let this one play out because that's at 29:21. Where's the mute button? Mute. Did you say 29:30 you said?
Yep, 29:30.
6, 7. Talk to the people. I don't like this dead air. All right, guys, here we go.
So glad I got to talk to you guys.
Yeah, you took too long. Asagraum live in Rosenheim, Germany. The name of the song is Dawn of the Infinite Fire. Let's do this shit.
This is the dawn of infinite fire.
Okay, that was Asagraum. How do I pronounce these?
Asagraum, Dawn of Infinite Fire.
Dawn of Infinite Fire. That was from the same show that we
Yep.
just covered.
Same live show.
So if there's no question as to whether or not these girls can stand up live,
Yeah,
sonically.
that's what I was just gonna say. I'm like, well, we know that.
Yeah, like, and that's big too because black metal. I think I don't know if CISO was still here, I'd actually ask him. But like black metal, I think can be risky to play live if you're not doing it good. It can sound really, especially like this kind of black metal isn't like the overproduced. I'm not gonna mention any bands, but there's some bands that are like very recent wave black metal. It's very, very highly produced and all that. This is kind of more almost like in the second generation. My point is like it can really sound muddy and sloppy live.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of playing,
Yep.
and they still did a really, really, really good job.
I agree.
Really good job. Shout out to the big homie BC in this bitch.
Shout out to BC. Every time BC shows up and says hello,
Children. Yeah.
it always reminds me of hello, atheist.
Hello, atheist.
Hello, atheist.
Shout out to Johnny Haas.
Yep.
Johnny Haas in this bitch.
Okay. It seems I see the blood moon rising in the sky again, yearning for the serpent's knowledge. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Because we talk about Genesis, and in Genesis, the serpent, just gonna do that for now, comes up to Eve and basically, breathes to her the secrets of secret knowledge and tells her, go and, basically go away from the things that God has told you to do and go over here and do this thing instead, and you're gonna get this secret knowledge that's going to change things for you. And you know what? It did change things for her. Drastically, even.
Change things for everybody.
It changed it for all of us. Yeah.
Good job, Mom.
Okay, this part. What
we gotta have it
this?
for Women's Week. We gotta.
So this part was pretty. Samuel, come unto me with thy dark wings I will ascend.
Samael.
Okay.
Yeah.
When one of
Not Samuel.
Okay, all right then.
I think the lyrics here are wrong. Is this Genius or was this Metalwork?
No, this is.
Yeah, it's Samael.
Metal Women.
Samuel is a prophet. Samael is a divine being.
Okay. You know what I thought it was?
He was one of the guys that
Remember-
was hanging out with Shemyaza and them.
It sounded like it.
During
When you
Mount
pronounced
Hermon.
the name, it sounded like that more.
Yeah.
Well, who was the? Remember, there was
Shemaiah.
I can't think of the people's names. That's why I'm asking you. He goes and he asks the witch of Endor to bring up who?
Saul to bring up Samuel.
Right. So that's what I thought was going on. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure that the one that he called up was Samuel, and then I thought it was kind of like because
Samael, come to me with thy dark winds, I will ascend.
yeah.
Samuel never had any dark wings.
No, but in certain Christian circles, when he went to the witch of Endor and had him call up Samuel, there are some people that say yes, he literally called up Samuel and he had a conversation with Samuel. But then there are other people that say it was not Samuel that came to him, but rather a demon that was presenting
that?
as Samuel. That's what we were taught, along with the bells on the feet that they would put. You know what I'm saying? Like it was probably one of those things. But when I heard it, now that I'm seeing your face, I also had heard your side of it too, where it was actually literally him. But I wasn't sure if she was playing on that part of it where.
Did
was
Arturo
almost
send us a
like-
commercial about March Madness yet?
Yeah, he did. Oh,
Okay.
you forgot. I told you.
Instead of the real commercial, we're going to be playing another commercial during the commercial. Pay very close attention. Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
So you thought he was talking about
Do me a
Samuel.
favor and send it to me again.
You
so I
thought
can
he
have
was
it right up
talking
there.
about Samuel.
Well, yeah.
Instead of Samael.
Right. And I thought she might have been playing off of that, where if it was actually not Samuel, but it was actually a dark demon that came to him that was talking to him, and then it was basically like,
Yeah.
with thy dark wings I will ascend. Like,
Yeah, I think,
but
especially
I see what you're saying.
the previous song where she was calling out all these demons or whatever. It
Yeah.
seems to go within her writing style.
And especially when you say
I've never heard that about Samuel, that it was a demon that was saying that to Saul.
Yeah,
so a
that a
demon
demon
gave
was
a
called up.
legit prophecy.
the demon was called up. Yeah.
A demon gave a legit prophecy because Samuel prophesied that he was going to die that day.
Yeah.
So your Bible, they just made shit up.
I don't even think that was my Bible college. I'm pretty sure that was before Bible college.
Oh my god. Anyway,
But
I
the
think
thing
they're
is,
talking about
you know
Samael.
why they had
I
to
don't
do
think
that?
they're talking about Samuel.
They had to
Samael
do
is
that.
a demon.
they had to do that because they were trying to, you know, like, because you couldn't speak to the dead. You couldn't, everything was a demon. You remember that whole demon under every rock thing? Like, I was very closely connected with that group of people.
It's a lot of,
There's a lot of fear-based.
It's a kind of Christianity I loathed when I was coming back into Christianity because it was just so superstitious, and
they would take
it was
the
pretty
voice
much
boxes out of the toys.
Everything that atheists, every crazy caricature of Christianity that atheists have, like gets worked out in that little subculture, and that's why I hate it. Because like the rest of us aren't like that. See what I'm saying? But you know they do have a point when they, you know, that type of thing. But yeah, anyway, it's Samael. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, there's some useful stuff that comes from that crew because there are tips and tricks that have been actually helpful in the area of supernatural stuff that I've utilized many times and I've seen actually work. And they're the ones that introduced me to those concepts. So it's not all, but I mean, a lot of it was really crazy. I remember like they said Super Mario was demons like in the screen.
Yeah, I just.
They would take the voice boxes. Remember the Furby? The Furby they said was demon possessed.
The fact that God is gracious and worked around those people doesn't mean that they had good points about anything. I just.
But that means it's a good point if God worked around it and God brought a good point out.
No. God brought the entire world salvation through the crucifixion of an innocent man. We don't go, hey, let's go crucify innocent people because God brought something good out of it. So just because God brought something good out of some practice you learned from those folks doesn't mean necessarily that it was good.
That it was a good practice?
Yeah, it might just mean God felt sorry for the person and wanted to deliver them. And you guys just happen to be the only people around. But I've seen way more harm brought to people and in the name of Christ in that subculture than I've ever seen anything good. You know, I've seen a lot of, you know, crazy shit. Your daughter's left-handed. You know, that's a sign of demon. Like that's the brand of Christianity that set people on fire.
Yeah, I knew somebody that was having seizures, and they didn't put her on medication. They just kept. Yeah, and I believe in praying over people for healing. Certainly, I was healed as a child. I was going to be hooked up to dialysis the rest of my life from the time that I was like, I don't know, freaking 4 years old or something like that. I was going to be hooked up to dialysis for 2 hours every single day, I think is what they said. But God healed me of that, and God saved your life and healed you too. So I firmly believe in that. But like, I don't think I do think that God gave us the wisdom of medicines and different stuff that we can utilize to heal ourselves. And even in the Bible, there's a verse where one person says to the other person, like, drink a little wine for your stomach. Like he didn't say just pray and expect it to be healed.
Stop drinking only water, but mix wine with it, because they were using wine as a disinfectant, because the water in, you know, Second Temple Judaism was like the water in Tijuana. And so he said, take some so you used to mix alcohol with your water so that you could keep the water down. But there were some people that would take vows, religious vows, and they wouldn't touch any wine. And so the older guy writes to the younger guy and says, that's very nice of you, but you need to take wine for your weak stomach, man. Like, let's just be practical about this. You got to find your way to devote yourself to God some other way, because this is not working for you on a little practice. See, Christianity is a very practical religion. So, like, I can't stand that subculture because I have a policy that I'm never going to disown my people. So if an atheist comes to me and says, you guys believe in superstitious bullshit, blah, 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 I'm never going to say, those people aren't Christian. We don't believe that. Yeah. Like, you can't do that. So, same thing with the Crusades. Like, I'm always going to own my people. I just can't stand that, because it's like sometimes superstition is just innocent, but a lot of times it's just a control mechanism. I mean, at a meta level, superstition functions as a way to give us the illusion of control in the first place. Oh, step on a crack, you break your mother's back. You have no control as to whether or not your mom's going to fall down the stairs. You have no control as to whether or not she's going to get in a brutal car accident, but you do have control over whether or not you step on a crack. So superstitions, a lot of times at a meta level, function to give us the illusion of some sort of control. And in that sense, it could be psychically healing. But on the other hand, as I said in the previous situation, the cost to me is just too much.
Oh, 100%. The
cost is just way, way, way too much.
Delaney, right here. Boop. Delaney, actually, it's the opposite. That everything, there's a verse here I'm going to read to you, James 1:17. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, who does not change his shifting shadows. That's James 1:17. So that tells us that everything good comes from God. And we also know, looking at the crucifixion, which Vin just brought up earlier, like it was the most horrific event that happened in history, to see the God of the universe is being crucified and killed on a cross by the hands of human beings. And that brought about the ultimate good, because that granted us access to our Father. So we're kind of at this place where like even like good and bad both comes from God, because God he's working the bad to bring about the ultimate good. But certainly everything good, comes from God. And in the life of a Christian, we have that verse that says that God is working all things for our good. So even the most painful points of our life, just like the cross was the most painful thing, brought about that ultimate good. Like those really painful parts in our lives, like there's two ways. This is one thing that I've really learned over the last probably 5 years, is that you have two, maybe more, but I'm going to simplify. You have two ways that you can take when you're faced with an event. And when you're faced with pain and you're faced with horrible things that come or whatever, you can get bitter about it and you can say, why is this happening to me? I shouldn't be this, blah, 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 blah. Or we can accept those things as from God's hand and say, everything has been sifted through God's hand that is coming into my life. And even though I'm in pain, and even though my life seems like whatever sort of way, like God is in this every second. He's walking with me through this. And those two perspectives alter the course of how you're going to experience something. It was like that, might seem like a little bit of an outlandish story, but there was this person that had been molested when they were a child. And was really like something that was bringing them great pain throughout their life. Every time they thought about it, it was just really, really horrible. They sat down with a therapist, and when they were walking it through with the therapist, it turned out that it was like when they were like 4, and it was with like a 4-year-old. And so then it was more like, this is more like kids' curiosity. This is not like a grown person, like completely taking advantage of the child. And that perspective changed how she looked at it, and it actually made like a really big positive change in her life. She was kind of able to heal from that. So I think that principle is true in all of our life, that if we can look at a situation and we know that situation, as much as it hurts or as horrible as it is, that God is working something good in our lives through it, and that in the end he's going to be glorified through it and we're going to be exalted in it, then there's something different from it. But if we see all the bad things as like we're being crushed beneath it and there is chaos and nobody's in control of this, and you're just like a punching bag for the universe, then it's a different feel, and you're going to experience those two. The exact same event can be experienced two different ways. So there's a lot of principles in the Bible that if we apply them, really help us mentally to not get like just dragged down under the weight of what happens around us and to us.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is to recognize that we're not dualists. In other words, we do not, and I kind of said this, and you probably picked up on this. I don't know, because I don't know what time you came in, but I remember I said Cat Williams said something to Joe Rogan, and they're like, it works at the regular level, but it doesn't work at the second level, and she just hit on it. So we're not dualists. In other words, we do not believe that the devil.
The one you said Perkinos would be.
Yeah, we do not believe that the devil is equivalent to God.
No.
So if I say all good comes from God and all bad does not come from the devil, it works, because we're not saying that these two beings are equals on the opposite ends of the spectrum. One is the infinite self-sustaining creator. The other is to be honest with you, a janitor who's angry at the CEO. I mean, that's honestly what it comes down to. And so what that means, Delaney, is that the devil can have an intention, but he may not have the power or the permission to carry it about. That's why I said not every bad thing is the devil's fault, because the devil does not have the power to execute his will in the world omnipotently, because he's a created being. Mm-hmm. God, on the other hand, does. Mm-hmm. And so that's why the scripture says every good and perfect gift comes from above, from the Father of lights. What's interesting about that passage that you brought up, because the passage that you brought up is talking about God as the Father of lights, plural. And in this song,
oh boy,
what in this song?
Tell me.
The name of the song is Fire, right? Like
Dawn of Infinite Fire.
Infinite Fire. Okay.
Yep.
And look what it says: He who burns within with lightless flames.
Yo.
He who brings me with black salvation and thousands of names. So right there, you can see, there it is again. This is a dawn of the infinite fire, a shining without light. And I think that that's very important, because if you have a shining without light, that means that it's an illusion. It's not really light. It's actually darkness. And it seems that in this song that this young lady has been harmed, probably by religious people. I'm not going to go like to what I completely suspect, but this young lady seems to have a very deep desire for power and identity. In both the songs that we looked at, she wants power and identity. And in this song at the end, it's heartbreaking. She says, I'm a daughter of Lucifer. That's really specific. She didn't say I'm a child. You know, there's a sense in which the term man is very general. The term child is general, but female pronouns are really, really specific, especially when you're talking about literature. You talk about mankind, you never talk about womankind. My point is, she's being very specific here. She wants to be associated with someone still. She's not saying, I'm going to go out on my own and do my thing and fuck everybody. She's saying, I have a father. I want to be part of a family. I want an identity. And I want power so that the people who hurt me don't have the power to hurt me again. And this is one of the major misses in Christianity when it comes to quote-unquote devil music. It's like we're so pedestrian and superstitious. You know, I think Tina was alluding to some superstition in Christianity as well. But like we're so, you know, it's like the minute you hear 666 or you see this person in corpse paint and tattoos and she's saying she's a child of Lucifer, it's like, yeah, let's just not analyze it all.
How we got there. Let's
just react to it.
Yep.
To me, I'm seeing a very very hurt individual who refuses to quit. And is grasping as much as she possibly can to still somehow have an identity as a child of the devil, a daughter of Lucifer. But she wants to be able to live in such a way as to have an identity and not have those dangers. She wants to be protected from it. It's tough. It's very, very tough.
The ending of the song says, a shining without light. I am the bearer of infinite wisdom, a daughter of Lucifer. And that made me think immediately about Proverbs 9. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. That I think about that verse a lot. And I just thought that kind of like, the other thing too that I thought was interesting was the whole, you were touching on it before, talking about a shining without light. And you talked about, you know, probably maybe she's been hurt in her life and stuff. And a lot of times people use that euphemism, is that the correct word? Like, when you've been hurt, that they stole light from you, they stole from you. And so when she says a shining without light, I don't know, that's a hard listen to, especially I guess from a parent perspective. But yeah, shout out to this band, shout out to the writer. What I love about it is that she's really raw and honest, and she's not trying to hide and be like, you know, this is where she's at. She said, she who fills my heart with putrid hate.
That's Lilith, I'm assuming.
Probably. Yeah.
Right. And you know, so,
the other thing too, he who brings me black salvation with thousands of names. And remember when, Moses was going to go to Egypt, he was like, well, who am I supposed to say sent me?
Right.
Because they worshipped so many gods at that time that when he was going to go before Pharaoh, who represented Ra, the sun god, he had to say, look, he was telling Pharaoh, let all these slaves go, like all of them, let them go. That was going to completely change Egypt as it was. But he was like, I can't just go over there and just say, he's going to ask who's saying this? Who's backing this? Who's the authority behind this that's going to enforce this if I don't do what you're saying? And so when Moses asks the burning bush, which he's talking to Yahweh, he asks him, who do I say sent me? He said, I am that I am. And so he just says, I am. And that's so like simple, like I am. But then when you think about when it said thousands of names, it reminded me of Legion. Remember when the person that was like filled with demons, they were like
she mentioned
tearing
Legion.
themselves to pieces and throwing themselves in the flame. And when they were asked, what is your name? They said, our name is Legion, for we are many. Like they were captivated by so many demons internally. That has got to be terrifying. Like a friggin' black hole. Like living in a black hole. Like if you're that person and you're like they said that they would hear him screaming from
what happens with his consciousness when those things take over. What do you give the song?
Yeah. I'm gonna give this one a 9.2.
I'll give it a solid 9. Solid 9. I'd like to interview this
I would
this
too.
band.
I said it the last time. You guys, if you're open for an interview, send us an email, vinandsori@gmail.com.
I'd be very interested. I'm not trying to convert anybody. I just want to hear
Yeah, just love to hear the story
Just
and
wanna
ask
hear
some
the story.
questions and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
We got more metal coming for you losers.
We do.